I am at it again, you guys. I just got these 2 boxes delivered. I am going to try to get these up the stairs and then up another set of stairs to the front door. So they seem really heavy, so I'll figure it out. If I can't do it, I'm going to have to resort to getting help from my teenagers, which they're always usually helpful with that, but anyway, I'll figure it out so we can get this into the house and hopefully be able to put it together. I know that the chair was so difficult, it took forever, and I want to blame the instructions on that, but I know that partly it was my fault too, because I am not really the greatest at putting furniture together. So anyway, let's get these into the house and then we will hopefully start building. As you can tell, it is super windy out here and the camera just fell, so I'm gonna bring it inside so it doesn't get damaged, and I'll see you when I get in there. One down, one more to go. This is crazy. So the other one is actually way too heavy, so I'm going to go get probably both of my kids. I hope you can even hear me. It is crazy windy out here. But I'm gonna go get my older 2 kids and have them help me carry this up, because there's no way I can do that one by myself. Okay, so we just brought the boxes up. The second box was extremely heavy. The 3 of us, it took us a couple minutes to get it up both sets of stairs and into the house. So yeah, they were very heavy, and I am not even quite sure if I'm going to be able to put it together by myself. So figure that out when we get to it. But when I did the whole AI thing for my living room, I sent the pictures of my living room, a couple different angles, into ChatGPT to see like what kind of stuff it would spit out at me. And it was interesting because it had a like cabinet like this over in this area, and I'll show you in just a second. But it had a cabinet just like this. I thought it was interesting because for a while now, I will see if I have the picture still, but I have had this picture saved of a cabinet unit type of thing. The picture that I found, that I came across, I really loved the idea because it was a tall cabinet like I'm looking for, but it also had an area underneath where you can store firewood. That is something we do not have. We use our fireplace a lot, especially this time of year. And we do not anywhere up here have a spot to store some firewood. Usually we have like buckets for smaller pieces, and then we put other pieces kind of alongside our fire. So other than that, we don't really have an area at all to store it. And that was something that I've always wanted. And this picture that I found, it had the tall cabinet that I've been wanting, but also it showed a spot underneath that you can store firewood. And I'm like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for. I have saved that picture. I'm pretty sure I still have it. I'm gonna have to go back and look, but it is like, I've looked at it so many times that it's like imprinted in my mind. So anyway, I've had this picture for a while, and I ended up showing Kyle. He really loved it too. And I found the cabinet. I just could not find anything for the firewood aspect of this. However, it is so simple that I think my husband will have no issues building it. That is the only thing we do not currently have. We have the cabinet. That is what we carried up today, but I don't have the thing built, and it's literally just like a square. So the cabinet will actually sit up on top of the square that is going to be built, and the firewood will be able to be placed into the built square. And then the cabinet will be, like I said, sitting up on top, and I think it's gonna go pretty high. I wanna say it's below the ceiling. I did measure, and I measured properly with like a measuring tape and everything, so we should be good. It should fit in this area perfectly, especially with the little wood square that we're going to be adding whenever we get to it. Maybe this coming weekend, I'm not really sure. I don't think we have any wood on hand to use. That would be kind of cool though, if we did have wood on hand to actually be able to just do the whole thing. I'll have to double check, but I don't think we do. Anyway, regardless, we have the cabinet. That's gonna take a little bit to put together. And then, like I said, the AI image that generated for my living room, it had me put a piece of furniture just like this on the other side of the room, which if you have been following the saga along, you know that when I took out the 2 chairs in our living room, I replaced it with only 1. And that was because this piece of furniture is kind of gonna be taking up space that we have never had anything over there. And because of that, I didn't want to put 2 chairs because I felt like it would be too crowded. So anyway, we're going to finish clearing this off. Now it does have our internet and stuff in it, so I'm gonna have to kind of take it apart and weave it out the back and all that stuff. That's another reason why we always have a piece of furniture here, because we have a lot of wires behind here. This is a rock wall. It's real rock, and it does not have any of the wires. So all the wires from the TV, the internet, everything kind of gets weaved, and it is over here. So because of that, we always have a piece of furniture there to block the cords, and a lot of times we'll put the cords and like the internet box and stuff like that, we have it actually in the cabinet. So that is another reason why I wanted to keep the whole cabinet aspect, because we will have a spot to put all that stuff and not have it just exposed or laying on the floor. So anyway, let me turn you around and show you exactly where I'm planning on putting this piece of furniture. I have not tested it yet, only because, which I feel like now that I'm thinking about it, was not such a great idea, because I hope it fits, and I just hadn't tested it because there was so many wires and stuff hooked up to the cabinet, and I didn't want to deal with it at the time. Kind of regretting that now, but we'll figure it out when we get to it. I think it will fit just fine. Anyway, I'll show you where I'm gonna put it. Okay, so this is the cabinet area I'm referring to that we're moving. The cabinet is supposed to, it's not gonna hit this, but I think it is pretty close to like the top up here. Especially, it's not going to be at first. I mean, until we get the firewood on it, or the firewood, I don't even know what to call that, firewood box storage thing. That is what's gonna make it taller. So for right now, it will be tall, and it's not going to be all the way up here. But once we get that put on, I think it's going to be pretty close to the ceiling mark. So anyway, that will be put up there in this, that will be put up in this space here. And then we'll have the firewood, you know, right here, that is right next to the fireplace, so that will work out perfectly. And then I absolutely love this piece of furniture. We got it when we moved in here, and I've kind of shifted it around over the years, but this is one of my favorite pieces of furniture, so I didn't want to get rid of it, and it kind of worked out how AI put it basically in our house. It just, it was interesting how that worked out. So anyway, this is the space that I'm talking about right here. This is where AI, I'm gonna look to see if I still have that picture. I'll put it up here if I do, the AI image. But anyway, this is where the AI image, kind of blurry, there we go, had a piece of furniture. So anyway, let's kind of figure out some things. Maybe unplug all the stuff in here, and then we will move that over. Anyway, let's figure out this first, and then we'll see how far we get with this. Okay, a little bit of a story, but the shelf that I ordered that I'm going to be putting in this area, I had ordered it at the same time I did the chair. However, if you can remember, the chair came a little bit early, and I somewhat wanted to surprise my husband with it. Not that it really mattered, but I was surprising him with it because he had wanted a recliner. So anyway, I had at the same time, I ordered the shelf that's going to go over here. However, for whatever reason, I kept forgetting to actually tell my husband that I ordered it. So he knew that we were putting furniture here. He was well aware of exactly what it looked like and everything like that. But he did not know that I had ordered it and that it was on its way. So it was kind of funny because when it did arrive this day, I was just like, oh yeah. I had completely forgotten. And so I messaged him while he was at work and I was like, hey, just an FYI, that furniture that we were going to be putting in, I had already ordered it. It arrived today. And so anyway, I had told him, and it's not that this is a surprise or anything, but I did want to do some of it by myself, but a little bit of a spoiler alert, we did not get that far before he got home. And when I was talking about how I did not measure it, this was the area that I did not measure because of all the cords and stuff. So it ended up kind of being a little bit tricky of a situation. Okay, what do we think? It is really hard to see because I'm facing the windows. It honestly just barely fits. I'm a little nervous that it's not actually going to work. It's like an inch off. So I might put some stuff on it just to see if it's gonna work, but I really want this piece to work because I absolutely love it. It does still have plenty of walk-through space. It's just this is like the tiniest amount off. I might clean it off, put some stuff on it, and then see if I like it a little bit more. And then also, we'll see what my husband thinks too when he gets home. Here's a quick little reminder in case you need it, but whenever you're moving furniture, always clean behind it, or if you have not moved your furniture in a hot second, to clean behind it or under it. I suggest you might want to check it out because so I often will vacuum under that shelf. However, my vacuum can only reach so far. So it has, dog hair and stuff like that, dirt built up. So I was glad whenever I move furniture, I always clean under it and behind it just because it makes it easier, and that way you don't have to go back and do it again whenever you're doing a big deep clean or anything like that. Now that I have it all vacuumed up, I'm going to do a really good dust. As you could see, whenever I moved the stuff, there was a bunch of dust behind it. I also felt like the spot that this was in attracts a lot of dust because, so upstairs we have that walkway area, and I feel like dust and stuff falls off of that and onto whatever furniture is right there. So I feel like whatever is there always accumulates a lot of dust. And then this is kind of a darker wood, so it always shows it. As you can see from this angle, it is really, really close to the curtain holder. So I do end up moving it over a little bit to the left here, and that ends up helping the situation. When my husband got home, he did end up liking this whole setup, and I think that's actually where we're going to keep it. There's plenty of walking space there. I have this lamp. I'm not sure if I'll end up keeping that. That was something that I got like 10 years ago from IKEA before we moved down here, and I've just never really had a spot for it. It's kind of an awkward size, and we just never really had a spot. So it's been in our storage room downstairs for a while, but it is like dimmable, and it kind of adds a nice little thing over here in this corner. So for the time being, I'm going to leave that until maybe I find a new one, but I really liked how this area ended up turning out, and I think it adds something in this little area that we've never had anything before. So as you can see, my husband is now home and he is putting together the furniture. I did help, but he often insists on doing this kind of stuff. And so my helpfulness is basically holding the flashlight for him, handing him screws and tools, and helping him, kind of maneuver stuff around. But a lot of times he really insists on doing this. He does a lot of this kind of stuff for a living, so he was like, it's fine. He's more comfortable with it, and he's probably a lot quicker than I am. And if you saw me putting together the chair, he is so significantly better at putting this stuff together than I am, probably because he has a lot of practice. So anyway, he put it together for us, and then we'll move it over into that area, and I'll show you how it ends up turning out. So again, here is how this area turned out. I actually really like it. I do apologize. My camera kind of freaks out every time I'm trying to film this area, I think because the light is shining in back of it. So it has a little bit of a hard time, but I absolutely love how this area turned out. And then here are how the shelves turned out that we put together the night before. I absolutely love them. I feel like they turned out so beautifully. Like I said, we still have the firewood box that we have to build and put underneath it, but I feel like these were everything that I was hoping. I had actually talked to a friend recently about how I had been looking for a piece of furniture, and I was specifically looking for a long time on Facebook Marketplace for like a hutch. And in my area, Facebook Marketplace is just terrible. Everything is really poor quality and very expensive. So I had been looking for a while and I never was able to find something for this area. And then this ended up being cheaper than anything I was able to find on Facebook Marketplace. And it was beautiful, beautiful quality. Now I'm going to be doing something a little bit different in today's video. I often will spend my videos baking or cooking, making dinner, stuff like that, which we will be getting to dinner here shortly. It was an amazing recipe, so you'll want to stick around for that. But for the first time, I am making dog treats. We often joke about how we have basically a zoo in our house now, that we have taken on quite a few animals and rescued a couple. So it feels sometimes like a zoo, but I have never really tried making treats for our furry friends. And so I wanted to give it a try. I came across a couple of recipes actually. One was using sweet potatoes, so I did end up making them some sweet potato treats, but I also wanted to try these. They're like peanut butter cookies is what I call them. I wanted to try these. They had very little ingredients and they ended up turning out really well. My dogs absolutely loved these, and so I figured I would share them. So if you're interested, I will have the recipe down below in the description box if you would like to try making these yourself. They are so simple. You put the couple of ingredients together, you roll it out. I did them a little bit thicker, so I rolled them out thick, and then I used a cookie cutter to cut out. The only one I have is actually stars. I think I have like stockings and gingerbread men and stuff. stuff, but other than Christmas shapes, I think I only have a star. So anyway, I ended up cutting out stars and then baking them for, I think it was about 15-20 minutes, and then they were done. I let them cool and let the dogs try them, and it, like I said, they absolutely love them. So if you are looking for a treat for your furry friend, definitely try these. We finished up school for the day, but one thing that I've been wanting to start with my younger two boys in particular is some gardening stuff. They love the garden. They love to grow things, and I feel like it's a really good thing for them to learn and be a part of, especially for like school. So what I did was I took a bunch of toilet paper rolls and paper towel rolls that we've had, and I cut them smaller. I did take the bottom and fold them in to kind of create a little bit of a cup, and then we put them into this pot, and they are filling them a little more than halfway, about 3/4. They'll put in a couple little seeds, fill them just slightly with a little bit more dirt, and we'll water them really well. I wanted them to be able to start this, and I know that they're really excited about it too. So we did some sugar snap peas and cucumbers. However, I also did get seeds for a bunch of different flowers, so I'm pretty excited to get those started as well. I've had this meal planned for a couple of weeks now. I just have not really gotten a chance to get around and actually make it. So I was also watching a couple different other YouTubers, and they made something somewhat similar. So I switched up the recipe at the very last minute and made it a different way than I originally planned. And I'm so glad I did that because it turned out delicious. I am super low on groceries. We have been eating through our pantry and our freezer, so I do plan on doing a big grocery haul probably this weekend, and I'll share that for you guys. But because of that, I did not have too many ingredients on hand. So what I did was I have 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I cut those in half to make them thinner, and I'm seasoning them with paprika, garlic, and onion powder, some salt and pepper. And all I'm going to do is just slightly bread them with some panko breadcrumbs and some crunchy onions is what I call them. I think they're, like the little crunchy onions that you put on top of green bean casserole. I like having those on hand because they make a really good like crunch factor when you are breading chicken. So I have some of that, and we're just going to bread them. I do at the last minute kind of decide I want to add in some Parmesan, so I go in and I add that over top. This chicken was absolutely delicious. My kids were like, they devoured it. We had no leftovers, which I was worried a little bit that it wasn't going to be quite enough. It ended up being enough for the 6 of us. My younger 2 boys, they still are little and they don't eat as much as the rest of us. So we were able to get by with just these 4 pieces of chicken. They were kind of larger as well, but I was worried at first, but it ended up turning out perfectly and it made such a delicious dinner. So I have the chicken nice and breaded and I put it into a greased casserole dish. I'm going to throw that in the oven at about 350 until it's done. I let it cook lower and slow for a little bit, so I just kind of tested whenever it was done, and that is when I pulled it out. While the chicken was in the oven, I am going to chop up some broccoli. I am just going to be steaming it on the stove. So what I do is I just chop it up into about bite-sized pieces. I'm putting it in this pan, and then whenever I want to actually steam it, I save that for last so it doesn't oversteam and it's not like soggy or anything. But I just put it in this pan and then I put it on the stove. Whenever I go to do it, then I will heat the pan up for about 5 minutes-ish. And then I put in a small amount of water, put the lid on, and after a couple minutes, it is nice and steamed and it is not overdone. So that is how I did the broccoli. I don't know if I actually end up showing it, but that is how I do it. I originally was going to do more of like a casserole style dish with this. However, I didn't have any of the pasta or really like anything I needed for it. So I switched it up, and I was glad that I was kind of searching around for other meals. And it was so ironic that I found, like I said, I was watching other YouTubers and they made similar things to what I was looking for, and I had all the ingredients. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. So I ended up switching it, and I'm really glad I did, because this is going to have to be like a more routine thing that I make. I am moving on to making somewhat of a cream sauce. It's like a cross between a cream sauce and a gravy. So I add in a big tab of butter into this cast iron skillet, and then I put in about a half a cup of flour, and I am putting in some chicken bouillon because it added a really, really great flavor. So I did that. I do some garlic, little things here and there just to kind of really bring out those flavors. And I'm adding in half and half. Now I used half and half, one, because we're almost out of milk, and two, because I have had this in the fridge and I needed to use it up. It was getting to the point where I didn't want it going bad, so that is why I used it. So I am, like I said, I'm just like continuously stirring this and adding in ingredients based on taste and what I'm wanting to do. A lot of things was the chicken bouillon and garlic, and really those were the flavors I was trying to get to. I also did end up adding a little bit of Parmesan to that, but just very, very little, because I wanted to kind of have like a resemblance of like a cheesy garlicky sauce. So anyway, that was done. So I put it off to the side, and last second I decided to make some rice. I'm just going to make some white rice, and I put some of that Creole seasoning in it. Like I said, I did not have any pasta or anything at this point, and I felt like I wanted something a little bit more on the plates just in case the chicken wasn't enough. And this actually ended up being a huge hit. It was just really plain rice, but I put it with some of the sauce on it, and my kids loved it. Here's how dinner turned out. It was a very simple dinner, and especially with very little ingredients that we had on hand, it turned out really, really amazing. But anyway, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.